The Formula One races in Bahrain and in Saudi Arabia are at risk of being cancelled or at least being postponed because of the ongoing international situation that is taking place in Middle East. And given how close to the theater of this crisis those two Formula One races are, it makes a lot of sense that Formula One and the FIA might be looking at the safety and the security concerns of Formula One fans, Formula One teams, Formula One drivers, and the Formula One personnel who would be involved in organizing and hosting these particular races. And it would make a lot of sense if the situation does not improve for these two races to actually be cancelled. And of course, that would throw Formula One into chaos or into a crisis when it comes to the Formula One schedule of 2026. Because that would mean they would need to either look for alternative Formula One tracks where they can host the races, or maybe schedule them for later in the year, hoping that the situation will have improved. But I think we cannot ignore the fact that the security and safety of Formula One or the Formula One value chain and ecosystem still remains very important, and I don't think it would make any sense to try to risk the lives of the people by trying to host the races when the situation is still as fluid as is at the moment. If this is the first time that you and I are meeting, I am Joe, and on this YouTube channel, I talk about Formula One and the business of Formula One. And I would really appreciate it if you would consider subscribing to this YouTube channel. It is worth noting that this Formula One doubleheader is scheduled to take place in April, with the Bahrain Grand Prix taking place on the weekend of the 12th in April and the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix taking place a week later on the weekend of the 19th April. And as of the recording of this particular video, there has been no decision from F1 or FIA in terms of whether the race will be cancelled or will be postponed. But they have actually indicated and released statements saying that they are actually monitoring the situation in Middle East and will probably make a decision as the week progresses, probably by the time the Chinese and the Grand Prix are actually finished. It will be very interesting to see what happens over the next couple of days or couple of weeks, because there are reports that there are ongoing review of contingency plans should there be a need for the two races to be cancelled or to be postponed. And given that there is still time before April comes, and there are actually 3 races between now and April, meaning there is the Australian Grand Prix, the Chinese and the Japanese Grand Prix, I would still think that the F1 and FIA have time to actually come up with a plan. And I personally think by the time the Japanese Grand Prix comes around, there will be a decision regarding Bahrain and Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. If you are an entrepreneur or a business person, there are a number of lessons that you can pick from the current situation, whereby you can learn that while you may have the best business plans already laid out, there are quite a number of external factors that can affect your plan and that can force you to make changes to your already existing business plan or whatever strategy that you have in place to either grow and monetize or make money with your business. And what I am learning myself is that you should always be ready to make adjustments when situation demands it. And such kind of an adjustment does not mean that you throw away your goal or your vision. The lesson here or the idea is that you should still maintain the vision that you have for whatever it is that you want to build or the business that you are running, but the tactics and the strategies may change here and there depending on the environment you are operating in. And this is because at the moment, we are not actually sure whether there will be a race in Bahrain or Saudi Arabia, because the situation has still not improved and it is still very fluid. And that means that Formula One and FIA will have to make adjustments to a plan that they already had in place in terms of the calendar to ensure that they can be able to avert any issues that would bring safety or security concerns to the people who are actually involved in these races. And that's the same approach that you should actually have when building your business. And what this means is that even if you are to face challenges on your journey of building or growing your business, you should still remain focused on your ultimate goal and vision, but still have room for adaptability and be able to change depending on how the market conditions are evolving, and also ensuring that your people, your key personnel are safe and secure as they deliver value to your audience, to your customers and stakeholders. And I think that's what personally I have learned, or I'm continuing to learn from this situation, that Formula One still wants to continue delivering value to the audience, still wants to ensure that there is safety and security of all the parties that are involved when it comes to organizing and hosting the Bahrain and Saudi Arabian Formula One races. Formula One is a global sport and a global business, and that means that it is not immune to factors that actually are taking place in the world. There are quite a lot of things that are beyond the control of Formula One. For example, this kind of situation that has actually come up in Middle East is beyond the control of Formula One. And at the same time, Formula One operates across various continents across the world, meaning there will always be issues arising in different parts of the world that can affect the Formula One sport and business. But the key thing is being able to have a plan and a contingency plan to be able to respond to those arising situations. And over the years, Formula One has demonstrated capacity and the ability to be able to respond to such situations. And I think this is also another case where Formula One will be able to rise to the occasion and deliver Formula One races, even if it will require some delays, cancellation or postponement of the Bahrain and Saudi Arabian Formula One races. It is worth noting that this Formula One doubleheader is scheduled to take place in April, with the Bahrain Grand Prix taking place on the weekend of the 12th in April and the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix taking place a week later on the weekend of the 19th April. And as of the recording of this particular video, there has been no decision from F1 or FIA in terms of whether the race will be cancelled or will be postponed. But they have actually indicated and released statements saying that they are actually monitoring the situation in Middle East and will probably make a decision as the week progresses, probably by the time the Chinese and the Grand Prix are actually finished. I hope you have found value in this video. Watch the video on your screen right now. Subscribe to this YouTube channel if you have not, and I'm going to see you in my next video.